Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Real Talk PNG Economic Struggles. I'm your host Mari, and today we'll be driving into some economic challenges we're facing here in Papua New Guinea. But don't worry, we're keeping it light and casual. Joining me today we have my two favorite people, Chloe and Stephanie.
Hey Mari, doing great. Excited to talk about some real stuff today. These economic struggles aren't new, but they're definitely worth chatting about.
I feel like we've all been hit by rising costs, the job market, and just how expensive everything seems to be. It's a big deal right now.
Totally, so let's kick off by talking about what's on our minds when it comes to economic issues. I'll start with something that's been bothering me, the high cost of living. It's like you walk into a grocery store or a market and everything's just expensive, fuel, it's all sky high. Like, how do people even manage to live?
I hear you. I was just talking to a friend who's been trying to run a small business, and it's not easy at all. She's dealing with crazy prices for supplies and can barely keep up with the rent for a little shop. It's tough for SMEs. They're supposed to be the backbone of the economy, but it's like everything's working against them.
Right, and then you've got the agriculture sector. It supports about 80% of the population, and it currently accounts for 32% of the GDP. Farmers out there are busting their backs to grow coffee, cocoa, palm oil, you name it. But they're barely making a living because of low prices and all the cost in getting their products to the market. It's like, how are we supposed to manage to grow as a country if our backbone industries are struggling so much?
Exactly. It feels like no matter where you turn, there's always something blocking progress. Speaking of which, let's talk about some big projects like the LNG project. We're talking billions of dollars flowing in, but are people really seeing any of that? I feel like the locals are always getting the short end of the stick.
Oh, absolutely. You've got all this money being generated, but where is it going? Sometimes it feels like all just disappearing and local communities are left with environmental damage and broken promises. It's frustrating.
And that's where corruption comes in, right? There's always talk about it. How can we have good governance when there's so much corruption at every level? Public money isn't being spent where it should be, and that affects everything from education to healthcare to infrastructure. It's like the cycle just keeps going on.
That's the thing, corruption makes everything worse. But I don't want to be all doom and gloom. Let's talk about what we think we could actually make things better. If you could change one thing in the economy, what would it be?
For me, it's going to be support for small businesses. We need better access to finance and training. If SMEs get the right support, we could see some real growth. Plus, it'll help create jobs and improve local communities. What about you?
I think we need to focus on the agriculture sector. Like, we can help farmers get better access to markets and fair prices for their products. If we could invest more in infrastructure and support, we could really boost that part of the economy. Plus, it would help reduce poverty in rural areas.
I agree with both of you. I think we really need to focus on transparency and good governance. If we can cut down on corruption, make sure public funds are being used properly, and hold people accountable, that would go a long way in solving a lot of these problems.
Yeah, we need to believe that change is possible, right? Even if it feels very far away sometimes, there's a lot we can do as a community to push for it.
Exactly, and hey, on the bright side, PNG people are resilient. We've been through a lot and we keep moving forward. So while things are tough, I'm hopeful that we can turn it around with the right changes.
Absolutely. Well, that's it for today's episode, folks. Thanks for hanging out with us and talking with us about issues that matter. Let's keep this conversation going, and remember, change starts with you. Until next time, take care.